Trump just straight up lied. He hasn't done a single thing to help gun owners since taking over as president.
You are the single biggest liar. You probably are worse than Jeb Bush.
Today I'm going to tell you why that is just a straight up lie in and of itself, and how his most recent move has once again helped gun owners. Now the ways in which he's helped gun owners since taking over aren't like these big headline type of things like national constitutional carry or even national concealed carry reciprocity, right? Things that we want to see, plus much more. But these are things behind the scenes that affect gun owners on a daily basis that can be more beneficial to you than what you actually realize. I've made 3 videos talking about the 3 things that he's already done to help gun owners, some of the things he hasn't done. But in this one, it's actually a bigger deal than what some people may realize. And so I just want to put the information out there. And of course, if you agree, disagree, doesn't matter, leave your opinion down below. And what's one of the big headline things you want to see from Trump when it comes to gun rights? Leave that down below as well. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Now again, those 3 previous things I talked about that Trump has done for gun owners, they're not getting a whole lot of attention, but they are equally as important. The thing I'm going to talk about today, not getting a whole lot of attention because on the surface you think this isn't a huge deal, right? Well, Trump's pick for FBI director is Kash Patel. Now the FBI, we all deal with them, right? Anytime you buy a firearm, essentially, right, it's going to go through the NICS background check system. And we all know that Biden pushed for that system to be used against gun owners, right, by their enhanced background check system, which essentially denies even more people, right? And so that's the whole goal of it. And they've attached red flag laws to some of those denials as well. So it's not bad enough that you say to an 18 to 20-year-old, just because they're a young adult, and just because other deranged young adults have done bad things with guns, now we treat the good young adults that you say, hey, yeah, absolutely, you can go over, fight, die for our country, no problem at all. But if you want to buy a firearm, whoa, wait a second. You're going through an enhanced background check. And if we see any potential risks that we deem as unacceptable, then we're going to enact one of those red flag laws and take your guns, and whenever we feel you can have them back, well, then there you go.
You're a damn liar, man.
So the NICS system, which in some states it's ran by different law enforcement agencies, depending on how their funding works and all that kind of stuff. It's an entirely broken system. I've done a whole video about that, I think, sometime last year, right? But regardless, we deal with the FBI on that basis. But then there's more sinister things that the FBI has done, and this all started after 9/11. And that's Section 702 of FISA, right? Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which was initially put into place, right, so we could spy on foreigners. They're not protected by the 4th Amendment, and we want to know or get as much information as we can so something like 9/11 never happens again. But that's been used against people like you and me, right? Christopher Wray admitted this. This is something GOA found out. 274,000 Americans, they use Section 702 for. It's not meant to be used against us, right? Because we have protections under the Constitution, but it has been.
702 authority is vital.
Now, in theory, they're supposed to be able to get this information from people that don't live in the United States. But if you have a relative or you talk to anybody overseas, your conversations can be tracked, right? They can spy on you. Now, there's a whole series of events that happen, and I know this isn't like breaking news, but this is going to lead up to why Trump's pick for FBI director is so important to gun owners. Okay, so just stick with me. But you know, Snowden, right, and his leaks, right, were very crucial in us finding out that after 9/11, it was pretty much just fair game for the NSA to track conversations, and then not only to track this stuff and basically have, you know, limitless access to us, but then to share that information with the FBI. Now, Congress said there's 2 things that you have to do in order to basically make this fall in line with the Constitution. You cannot purposely, right, get information on Americans. It has to be more of a coincidental thing. But then you can't share that information freely, but they have, right? So the FBI, for many years, they said, "Oh, well, we don't know how to track this, right? We don't know how many times we've actually, searched for Americans," because the claims are that the FBI, these are actually confirmed claims, but they were claims then, but the claims were that the FBI was actually searching Americans' information for domestic issues that had nothing to do with national security. There's actually a fantastic link to an article that I'm going to leave down below. I encourage you all to read it. But then Congress pushed them, and it came out that this isn't something that just, happens a couple dozen times.
The FBI's access to 702 information, we only receive a very small, very, very small, like single-digit percentage of the intelligence community's overall 702 collection.
You're a damn liar, man.
3.4 million of these searches in 2021. Now, from the same article that I read down below, they made a pretty good point. Let's say there's duplicates, right? So the same person is searched a couple of different times. So accounting for that, you're talking about basically 1,000 Americans a day that are having warrantless searches, having information pulled on them without them knowing. If that doesn't make you uneasy and put more distrust in the government, or even further proof of why Trump, Kash Patel, and others are actually in the position they are now, well, maybe this will. The GAOA also found out that the FBI was using self-assessment paperwork, basically signing over your rights and providing your information to NICS so you could never buy a firearm ever again. This is confirmed to happen to not a lot of people, but the fact that the FBI even has paperwork like this is very troubling. And so they kind of showed screenshots of doctors signing off on this. So let's say you go get help for some mental health situation you're having. A lot of people, when you say mental health, the first thing they go to is like really extreme stuff, right? And that stuff exists. It's unfortunate, but it does. But then you have other cases that are less severe, right? Somebody that has panic attacks, right? Should they not be able to own a gun because they have some anxiety? I don't think so, right? And so these people are going to get help, and somehow the same people that were convinced that they are mentally defective to the point where they should not own a firearm, but they are still of sound mental health to be able to sign their gun rights away. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, with Kash Patel in there, that obviously can stop. Now, dismantling that Bipartisan Safer Communities Act is going to be a part of it, but that also means that he doesn't have to put people there to do these enhanced background checks to stop 18 to 20-year-olds, lawful 18 to 20-year-olds, from buying their firearms, right? He even said as much. Day one, he's going to take the 7,000 people in the Hoover building and he's going to put them to work. Why are they there? That's a great question, right? That's a bunch of salaries. Put them out there to catch real criminals, to leave gun owners alone. He spoke to GOA, talking about the importance of the Second Amendment and protecting that fundamental right. And if you, obviously, we care about the second, we care about the first, we definitely care about the fourth as well. And this is a guy that cares about all of that. That's who you want in charge of an agency that can pull your information and get information because of the NSA, right? Then that information can be used against you. So it's not just the fact that they run NICS and the background check. It's not just the enhanced stuff, but it's the things they can do behind the scenes that you don't even know about. So to have somebody there that's trustworthy is such a huge win for us. And again, it's not flashy. It's not one of these big kind of headline grabbing things, but it definitely is a big deal to you and me. Now, I know he's been a little bit more conservative in his Senate confirmation hearings. Kind of expect that, but we all know how he feels. He wrote a whole book about this. He was talking about this just last year, right? And while you have to keep all of these people accountable, right? And make sure that they do what they say they're going to do, this is seemingly a big win if he does actually do the things that he's talking about. And again, taking attention away from gun owners and putting it on something that really matters. These people, they already have guns. They're there to stop criminals. Put them to work doing that. Maybe even put them at the border along with some of those ATF agents that we talked about in Monday's video. Again, I encourage you to watch that one. It's a really awesome video. So there you go, man. That's my opinion, but of course I want to hear yours. What's one of the big headlining things you want to see Trump do first? But also, what's one of these kind of backdoor, if you will, things that is kind of one of your favorites or something you want to expand on that Trump has already done for gun owners? Leave that down below as well. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.